Malaria and hookworm were the
Those
real
are the big-
problems,
those
and
are
that's
the
what the
biggies.
box up.
Tsutsukumushi is used now as sort of a joke. It did exist, but it wasn't Tsutsukumushi. Besides, I defy you to spell Tsutsukumushi.
I Googled it.
Anyway.
Malaria and hookworm.
Diarrheas, respiratory infections, tuberculosis, and so forth and so on. But the baby beds, see, the baby slept on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't in a bed of any kind, it was on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a form of roach or mouse that by the father was considered a damn nuisance to have them around. But father's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy could use it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know exactly why, but you'll figure it out.
But the kids had to sleep on the floor.
So these boxes came to ship stuff from the advanced world, and these boxes really they didn't have much use for them. But with a little bit with a sewing machine, a little bit of cloth, a little bit of mosquito net, just enough to cover the box, and suddenly you had a 20th century baby bed that revolutionized, at least in that area, it revolutionized the baby care and reduced the mortality. And somebody's got to do things like that.
Can you tell us some more about just sort of like what you did in Africa, a little bit about it, or?
Well, yeah, they have always had things like hernias,
Mm-hmm.
and they've always had things like the complications of a surgical operation done locally.
Without sterilization.
Yeah, but involving
What they did to the women.
circumcision
What they did to the women.
for the women.
And so
And
when
the complications from that were bowel obstructions and other problems.
and so you had to save lives that were risked by that
I wouldn't
practice.
put it as saving lives, but in some cases it did help, and in some cases they may have saved lives. The complications of female circumcision were horrible. Oh. Fortunately, it's passing out. It has not disappeared.
Yeah.
The grandmothers still want. We did it, and you should do it too.
Mm. Did you like learning Swahili?
Swahili, I like learning. Swahili is the only one I really learned.
Somali, not so much.
It was too much for me at the time because I was busy.
Mm.
Didn't have a lot of time on my hands. And after all, I had a new bride.
And you were just a kid. You were so close to Max's age now.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like not many years older than he is.
Well, he was born on the 10th. 2 days later, for God's sake, don't make a big deal of it.
And I'm doing this interview, of course, because Max has a fever and is staying away from you.
Yeah. But that's what you should do. Let me tell you, Max would be endeared to anyone who is endeared to you. So they tend to exaggerate my role in his growing up.
Do you not know that he freaking adores you?
We get along okay.
He's all right. He's all right, that boy. So is there one more little story you should tell him that, because I'm worried that people will read this and will say that can't be true. There's no such person. There's no such person who went to Africa as a surgeon, had 3 cheetahs, married a nurse. I mean, it sounds a little bit like one of these tall tales.
Well, it is sort of. But, you know,
Oh, do you have the newspaper article?
which one?
The one from Northern Neck News about you and Bean?
There were a bunch of newspaper articles.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. So I don't know which one you're talking about. That's why a picture of the reminder sometimes will tell you, oh yes, this ought to be included. But if he continues that article in the strain that he's doing there, it will sell.
Yeah. Well, he has to
To the
keep it.
people that he's selling it to, who are the academics on the admissions committees and such like that.
And they want to hear something interesting and loving and humane. And he's limited to 300 words though, so I don't know how he's going to cover that.
Yeah, it takes a lot more time to write a short one than it does to write a lengthy one.
Yeah.
And so you probably have enough by way of anecdotes.